Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America, coast to coast. In the adorably illustrated story, Me and the Mustard Girl by C Mae, about a little girl who decides the new kid in school must love mustard. Kids learn that not only is it worth taking the time to get to know someone before deciding if they like them or not, but that differences between people don't mean they can't be friends. Casey grew up in a truly diverse neighborhood in Chicago, attended Northeastern Illinois University, where she truly learned the concept of perseverance. After moving out on her own at age 18 and working full-time to support herself and her schooling, she received a Bachelor of Arts degree in training and instructional design. She paid for college as she went and owed nothing on graduation day. Casey's career as a trainer and instructional designer was nearly 20 years long when she and her husband welcomed their first baby. Casey and her husband enjoy the company of 2 teenagers. In addition to being a trainer, instructional designer, and a mom, she became a photographer, participates in charitable activities, and enjoys nature. She's a highly creative person and always wants to pass along a good message, which is exactly what she does in Me and the Mustard Girl. C Mae, our guest on This Week in America. Casey, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Such a delightful book, a book that is entertaining and teaches a very valuable lesson as well. What was the inspiration in writing the book?
My children inspired me to write the book. I wanted them to learn to accept others regardless of what they look like, sound like, dress like. I just wanted them to accept others.
Well, and you've done such a nice job with that in teaching other people that same valuable lesson. Is this based on a true story?
It is a true story. When I was in first grade, a new girl came into class. I took one look at her and I immediately thought to myself, I bet she likes mustard. At the time, I really disliked mustard, therefore I disliked her, and that's unfair. So because I thought we were different on our opinions about mustard, I thought we couldn't be friends.
You know, that's interesting how we form those opinions at an early age. I bet she likes mustard. That formulated what you thought of the girl in school. Why did you think you couldn't be friends just because you thought she didn't like mustard?
Well, since we were different, I thought that meant we couldn't be friends. I do not want other first graders to think that way. Differences are okay. You can be friends with someone who is different than you. As I got to know that girl in my first grade class, it didn't matter if she liked mustard or not. We became friends.
It's interesting. The title of the book is Me and the Mustard Girl. The author is C Mae. Mae is M-A-E. The book available at Amazon, all of the usual places. You can link onto our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and get all of the information on the book. Why write about mustard? That it does capture your attention as you're reading the title. Not a whole lot of books titled like that. Why write about mustard and the experience you had?
Well, the story is based on real events. I truly disliked mustard, and because I believed that this girl liked mustard, that meant I disliked her. I also thought that writing about mustard is something that children can relate to.
Well, they can. It's beautifully illustrated, and we'll talk about that as we go through the conversation here today. But talk about the characters in the book, and again, based on a real-life experience. Talk about the characters.
So the book only has 2 characters. It's me and the new girl, who I refer to as the Mustard Girl. And actually, she is my favorite character because I unjustly judged her. I took one look at her, formed an opinion that was based on no facts whatsoever, and that wasn't fair to her. There was no facts at all to prove that first impression of her.
And that's such a valuable lesson. How often in life do we come across a situation where we don't think we like somebody based on a false impression, and suddenly after you get to know the person, you realize, boy, that was judgmental and a very quick judgment, and I really should not have done that. The lesson presented, so a child, and it's great to have the child read it to the adult read it to the child, get into a discussion about the topic. Me and the Mustard Girl, the author is our guest, C Mae, on the program. What is the plan for the book? What do you hope happens with this book? It's such a valuable tool that really should be in the hands of many people.
Absolutely. I would like to see this book in every school. Acceptance, embrace differences, and learn from each other.
Well, it really is something that does need to be there because it's a very important topic and it's presented in such an enjoyable, entertaining way for the child. What was the reason, the purpose for writing this book? You alluded to it a little bit, but this was something that obviously had been on your mind for a while. What was the main purpose in writing Me and the Mustard Girl?
So there are so many social misconceptions of people that don't look like me, speak like me, or act like me, or anyone else. If someone doesn't look like us, act like us, speak like us, then there's a social misconception. And the purpose of writing this book is to promote acceptance of those differences.
What are your hopes for the book? We talked about really important to get the book in the hands of people, maybe schools, that type of thing. What is your hope for the book?
I would like for it to become part of the social emotional learning programs within the school system throughout the world. I want to teach children that being different is okay.
And it's such an important lesson now, and it's told in such an entertaining way in Casey's book, Me and the Mustard Girl. Are you working on other books? You're a very talented author. Are you working on other books?
Well, thank you for that compliment. I have published another book. It's called Coyote and Squirrel, and so it's available on Amazon as well. It's a short chapter book where each chapter teaches a little life lesson, and like love, acceptance, friendship, differences, change, things like that. There's also questions in the appendix to help foster the transfer of learning from the story into learning in your own life, their own lives. In addition to that one's already published. I'm also working on a few other books. One is called Adolescent Alphabet. It is a personal journey through the alphabet of positive phrases and affirmations. This helps tweens and young teens explore who they are and who they want to become. There are pages with space for readers to write their first thought about the phrase. After going through all 26 letters, readers would be encouraged to go back and reread the phrases and their initial thoughts and make modifications if necessary. In addition to that, and this book would be a reminder of kindness, that kindness should be a daily activity. So you would write down any kindness that you gave that day or that you gave away that day. Personal journal.
Obviously, a lot of ideas. Where do all of these ideas come from? Obviously, a number of these come from your role as a parent and growing up in the situations you went through. Is that where you draw from as a writer?
Yes, both from my own personal experiences and the experiences I've witnessed my children go through.
When you have an idea, talk about taking it from an idea form. Let's stick with Me and the Mustard Girl. You've got this idea, you feel it's very important, which it is, and you're going to write it. How do you go about doing that? Presenting it for a young person so you're holding their attention, not using any more words than you have to, words that they understand. What's that process like? How long is that? The challenges you face in taking this message, breaking it down so a young person, you hold their attention and they understand what you're talking about.
So Me and the Mustard Girl is a short story book. There's very few words or sentences on each page. It's the graphics are really important to bring the story to life. So I worked with an excellent artist who works here in the local school district in Naperville, Illinois, and his name is Kyle Wood. And so I think between the two of us, my words, his graphics, good editing, I think we were able to pull off a really good book with a great message.
Well, and you have, and it's a fabulous team. It's working out well. I see he's the illustrator on what Coyote and Squirrel as well. Talk about that relationship that has to be there between you and the illustrator, because they're there to augment what you're doing, to enhance what you're doing. What's that like working with an illustrator?
Initially, it was difficult to find an illustrator, and tried various avenues to find an illustrator. And I reached out to my son's art teacher in grade school, and she said that she didn't feel qualified, but she would send an email out to other artists, other art teachers in the school district. And I said, yes, please do. And so a couple people responded. Kyle Wood was one of them, and he and I hit it off. And I wanted to make sure that these were stories that he felt comfortable with putting his name on, that it was meaningful to him and his children as well. I wanted it something that he would be proud of, to have his name on as the illustrator.
It's amazing how someone that close you find that has done such a remarkable job in capturing your message and illustrating it in the book. Me and the Mustard Girl, C Mae, that's C, the two letters, Mae, M-A-E. Book available at Amazon, the usual places. Link onto our website by going to thisweekinamerica.us, and then you can get information on the book, information on Casey's other books there as well. Talk about the social emotional skills that you mentioned several times during the interview and how important that is. Talk about why that's so important, and if we focus enough on that in school and as parents.
Social emotional skills are really important to teach children at a young age. Teaching children, starting early with them, teaching them to accept others, conflict resolution, all of those social emotional skills, if we start teaching children at a young age, we'll be raising the next generation of really nice adults.
Boy, and we really need that. And what better way to do it than a book like a vehicle like you have in the book, Me and the Mustard Girl. C Mae, our guest, that's M-A-E, book available at Amazon, all of the usual places. A couple minutes left in the program. I'm going to talk about your background. You do such a beautiful job in taking these messages, making them relatable to the young people. When did you decide you enjoyed writing? Did someone encourage you at a young age to enjoy writing?
No, I don't think anyone really encouraged me. I just took to it. I've always enjoyed writing ever since I was young. I would write poems and write about, my thoughts or experiences of the day. And that's what I studied in school, to be an instructional designer, which is writing essentially, but writing instruction, like trainer's manuals and independent study manuals.
Yes.
And this was just taking it to the next level to help young children learn these so important skills.
What's it like when you publish a book and you get the book and you're holding this book and you see that people, families are using it, schools are reading it to their children? What's that like? I imagine that it's a feeling that's almost indescribable. What you see, the joy that you see in this creative process that you went through that's producing a very positive result.
Oh, it is indescribable. When I first received my copy, tears came down my cheeks.
Yes.
It was just so exciting to see that I finally accomplished this dream of getting actually both books published. And yes, I'm hoping that it's in hands of teachers, hands of parents, and they're reading it with their children. And hopefully I'm making a positive difference in the world through my books.
Well, and you are doing that. The reviews have been excellent. The book is Me and the Mustard Girl by C Mae, M-A-E. You'll find the book at Amazon, the usual places. When you go there, you can get information on KC and the other books that she has written as well. It's been a pleasure to have you on the program. Congratulations on the success of Me and the Mustard Girl, and we look forward to staying in touch and doing a follow-up on some of the other books that you've written as well. It's been fun having you with us. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing some time today.
Well, thank you for having me.
It has been our pleasure. C Mae is the author of Me and the Mustard Girl, available at Amazon. Information on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. And we're back on today's program right after these messages.
This Week in America is online. You can visit our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Scott Pinkerton, associate producer of This Week in America. Jay Anderson, segment producer. Ben Watson, webmaster. Otto Bechet, director of engineering and TV production. This Week in America produced and is a trademark of Blue Funk Broadcasting, LLC. For information on all of our guests and to listen to this week's show, our website again at thisweekinamerica.us. And I'm Sean Bratton, executive producer of This Week in America.